Yeah, it is. So we're going to be heading into, I believe it's going to be, yeah, Fission first. So we're going to go into Payload, then we'll be heading over to Dyson, and then Combustion as a third and final map if we do need it. It should be kicking off in a few seconds between these two teams. But I agree, Jackie, these should be more two evenly matched teams when it comes to playing here in Echo Combat. See Team Gravity on the blue side going to be defending first yet again. And we have Idol, Lego, Nilevik, Boop, and Lone Gecko here on BLERTS playing on the orange side. Funny enough, Boop is actually on Gravity's Echo Arena team. And Boop and Lone Gecko were on a team together called Blast, so kind of dives deep within the scene here, and Gravity just get basically a full wipe. That was a little unfortunate.
Yeah, the BLERTS battle plan to go for the instant attack didn't work out too well, but they're going for it again. Obviously, the power in numbers there, the battle of attrition. They still have a lot more firepower to play with just out of the disdain they have going instantly in. They're getting the tags off. Ducky's fairly low, is eventually going to be eliminated. Stoat will suffer the same fate, and they're actually trying to retreat. Derval just wants to get out of there, and this allows that one player at the back just to be able to subtly push the payload along, keep that Flamingo going.
What you saw there, just like the respawns and taking advantage of the respawns out of BLERTS, just completely collapsing them, attack yet again. Then you get on top of the payload, though, they actually head back to make sure they have all players grouped up again. They're going to be holding aggressively here, so when we see Gravity come out to contest this, they get some easy damage in. Derval trying to play from range here, trying to do some work from the back lines. Not really too successful so far. You can see BLERTS, though, being bursted down immediately. Out of Lego, Nilevik, and Lone Gecko all go down at the same time, and now Boop by himself to defend up against 4, takes down 1. But 1 will not be enough, and the payload will be halted.
So at least they can try and waste a little bit of time here. The actual amount they've been able to push it so far is pretty triumphant compared to what we see before, but the movement come into effect. They just glide their way through so gracefully, already at the payload, but they're down a man. Stoat will get the first elimination onto Lone Gecko, as he is going to be quite lonely, waiting for his teammates to join him in the grave, but Boot battles back, gets the shot off onto Ducky, but Stoat's having none of this. He's not messing about, Jason.
That shot onto Lone Gecko, he came in from like the front with everyone else, with the entire team grouped in, as you said, like the movement speed was insane out of them. Problem was, got hit by a comet, got knocked down about 2 health bars of HP left, and he was constantly trying to heal back up over the entire time. I think that was Ducky that actually hit the shot. You can see Stoaty immediately getting jumped on. He's going to survive for now. I feel like phase shift would be such a good ability to be using here as well. Just the fact that you can escape and live to fight another day. However, Gravity will not live to fight for now, as it looks like they'll be wiped out here, and the payload will be crossing that threshold.
You can see some really filthy angles coming into play as well now, where this map is so much bigger in terms of the sheer span of obviously how it needs to be for a payload, but also the fact is what you were touching on before, there's so many little nooks and crannies that are actually quite hard to peer into instantly. So you can see some of those different angles being thrown into effect. Tons and tons of verticality. You've got a lot of angles to clear, but we're instantly back into the fray once more. The 1-for-1 trade coming through, Boop going to deal with himself, but they are battling out. BLERTS are going to be taken down, apart from the one man slowly pushing the payload, keeping it moving. They're trying to burst him down, but they can't quite connect those shots. Lone Gecko doing a good job of just bobbing back and forth.
Using that terrain from the poor Flamingo here to survive any extra damage coming his way. We're going to see now Gravity regrouping. They actually sent 2 players on the very far north side. I'm actually just going to back away here. I feel like Gravity's just waiting for BLERTS to attack them. You can see off the side, Derval trying to look for some early damage in. You can still see Lone Gecko trying to dance around. One of Orange is being thrown on top of the Flamingo to do some early damage. And the damage has been done. You can see 2 players immediately being taken out of the equation off the bat. And that should be BLERTS, unfortunately, not being successful to get that payload further.
Payload returning.
Now, this could actually be a little bit awkward. They did get quite aggressive. We saw the further push coming out from Flush Gogo. He wanted to try and get that last elimination, but luckily he was able to get away and survive the full respawn. The 4-man squad bounces back into the battle. The insta 1-for-1 opener. Ducky doing some damage though, as he causes a bit of domination across the board. Everyone is struggling for the side of BLERTS. They're on the orange side and they're getting peeled.
It's just going to happen when you're on the orange side. And you have the hands of Gravity wrapped around you as they're just consistently holding them time and time again. The thing is, we're seeing a lot of these detonators being used, I believe, on the side of Gravity to defend, putting them on a lot of terrain that they know people are going to be engaging against them on, because they can get some early damage in against them as they try to push directly in towards that fight. You can see, again, BLERTS are just constantly being bursted down before they even have a chance. Gravity's getting set up defensively time and time again and proving to be this immovable wall, clearly proving that there's not many things stronger in the world than Gravity. Except love, obviously.
Love is the most powerful force. And that's what just keeps bringing us back together.
Transcends dimensions, Gravity.
It does indeed.
Time.
Culture. Language.
Food.
music,
Games,
Echo Combat.
instruments. Trying to see how long they'll keep going for. Because right now, BLERTS, they just don't really seem to have any sort of push coming in here. Team Gravity are just reading into this one every time. They have some great defensive positions. And with 15 seconds left, we're coming down to the final attack here. And they're looking for some early chip damage in as well. They just rush in, boop. Doesn't take too much here, but now they can get immediately on top of the Flamingo, allowing it to force it into overtime. We can see just the amount of damage being done here, and I think they've actually done enough themselves. I think BLERTS might be able to push this payload across the line. Now in overtime, cannot afford to fall off of it. And they should be able to get some extra time on the board yet again.
They hit that checkpoint, so they keep themselves alive for at least a little bit longer into this one. 2 more minutes going to be added to go for that final stretch, the whole way to, if not get the point from securing it, at least up that distance a little bit, because it's still quite a small amount.
Let me ask you, Jackie, does it feel like BLERTS are actually struggling more than Floaters United were?
I'm not too sure, obviously, because of literally that initial bit we had at the start, where they were straight out. That was way better executed than what we saw from Floaters, right?
Yeah.
But from that point onwards, it seems like they've been really struggling on actually keeping that momentum going. Especially to where we were now, BLERTS are in a worse position than Floaters were.
Yeah, I mean, time is going to be a major factor now, too, with 1:30 left to go. Again, you see Gravity playing towards some high ground here with some cover, see some early damage in. See a lot of detonators being thrown in here for some early damage. And the damage, again, it's being done. It's like every time they have these ordinances ready to go, every time they're ready to attack them with their attack mods, like they're just going to wipe them. It seems like Gravity just seem to be, in general, a better team when it comes to using all their combos correctly and together. But then again, that's them on the defense. And that's what you should expect out of a defense. When they come onto the attacking side is where I think we're going to see them struggle a little bit more. Or ideally should.
And also be up to what level of caliber BLERTS' defense is at. Because their initial aggression looked really good and calibrated. However, from that point onward, it seems to have fallen off a little bit. Ducky, again, always loves to get these instant openers. He's always a showman. And he's taken down the old boop. There is a response, though. They're not giving up too easily into this one. They've got 41 seconds, and they need to try and get some extra oomph going. If they want to gain that extra bit of distance, they're fairly close, Jason, but extra helps.
I mean, it's the final attack now. If they're successful, they finish, they complete. If they're unsuccessful, they'll be stopped a little bit short here of taking that payload across the final line. 9 meters left to go for them. So immediately pushing back into payload. The payload has started to move up. Remember, it does move backwards when it's not being held by the attacking side. And well, I was speaking of the attacking side. Unfortunately, I just can't talk too much more about them, as Idolego is the last one left alive. And Idolego will be going down. So it looks like BLERTS will be halted back further than Floaters United were on this map.
Which, when you say it, considering obviously how much we spoke about this one, this being the 2 sort of top seed teams that are looking to really be the big dogs going through the competition and be the ones we're looking for into how the meta looks in that map, it's a bit of a shocker that actually they fall behind slightly.
I feel like the play style was a higher level.
Yeah.
But I feel like Gravity I feel like for Gravity, they were more comfortable playing the style, and they were able to perform better on defense than they were used to playing, like with the kind of wacky style Floaters United were doing. Like the initial push, they sent 2 players in really aggressively out of nowhere, and it kind of caught them off guard, even though they did successfully defend. But either way, I mean, they still held them nonetheless, and they had about, what, 4.5 minutes remaining for them to finish off, or when they did beat Floaters United in this map just prior. So we'll see if they can do it in a little bit of a quicker pace, or if BLERTS is going to put up a better defense. I feel like it's all about defense as well when it comes to payload type maps. It's not really about attacks necessarily, because attacking is really hard. But if you have a solid defense, you're just generally going to put up like good numbers or good score lines.
That's also kind of the side that you really want to focus on for the most part, obviously in overall terms of strategy, because there's way more you can do on it. There's a lot more you need to understand about when to pick your fights and when to actually concede, because obviously the respawn time is quite harsh. It's going to bite you in the bottom if you do overfight way too much. So let's see how they actually opt to play it for Gravity this time around. 1 player at the back, just slowly pushing the Flamingo. And they've sent out the little pincer prong of death. The 3 players at the front. Derval instantly getting the snipe down. They're moving this one. They're actually getting that early push going through. They are being spammed from a distance, but BLERTS not doing too much. And here comes the true fight.
See Idolego able to trade with Derval.
Payload returning. Payload mobilized.
Payload actually continue to push up here. Well, in the meantime, I think Ducky's behind the entire team, trying to play a little bit of a flanking role. If he can catch out on Boop, who's just trying to snipe away from distance, could be the man advantage. Do they even know he's there? You see him on the mini-map, he's just kind of sitting back. I think a couple players are retreating back towards his direction. I think eventually he's been able to be spotted out. He's trying to actually sneak through back to his team, and somehow he's been able to do just that. I'm surprised to see him get across the arena without really being hindered, without really being hit.
Yeah, no damage taken that entire time as he was in complete open airspace. Lone Gecko goes in instantly though, assisted by his teammates as well. It's a bit of a nuts and bolts bath as everyone is just raining down. In the end, they're still being able to get tons of movement off the back of this as well. The point's being continuously pushed, the payload gaining momentum. Gravity in a good position here off the back of that fight. It falls back into a 4 versus 1 now because the amount of time BLERTS are wasting waiting for their respawns to come back up. They finally arrive on the scene, but surely it's too little too late.
Yeah, but Boop's actually stalled for time and has survived. I don't know how he was able to flank around from behind and draw the attention out of Gravity, who just turned and went straight for him like attack dogs. 2 players went towards the direction, and they didn't even kill him. And that was allowing BLERTS to actually get the successful defense on this first point.
That's rough. That's actually kind of poor. I mean, it's great play from Boop, obviously, to cause that distraction, force everyone off the point to just solely focus on him, but Gravity, they've tunnel visioned there. They've left themselves susceptible, but they've always got that benefit of the overall teamwork, the movement, the regrabs coming through, bursting their way out with speed, but they're still losing these fights. When it comes down to the Angels, they're just not up to scratch.
So like we were saying before about defense, it seems like BLERTS is putting up a real workshop here on this first point. We might actually see, at least on broadcast, our first successful defense when it comes to the initial point. The problem is, you see BLERTS trying to get back in here to fight. Actually sent a Boop in directly by himself. Players actually flanked in for a high. Nadalego's going to be here, and I don't know if he's going to be spotted out. Well, I can tell you he has been, as he gets immediately dropped down and immediately finished off here, and it should be Gravity finally crossing the line here. I think there's actually 2 minutes added towards the board, but that came down to just a few seconds and really a little bit too close for comfort.
Payload mobilized.
It does seem like that initial point can be quite a finicky one, with obviously the sort of choke point factor it has. It is quite close. The respawns are fairly quick for the team to actually get back in there. It's only a small bit of downtime you have, so you need to pick your fights fairly cleverly. Other than that, though, let's see if it continues on here, or if that was just a one-off. If that trend is going to carry on, Gravity are really going to struggle to actually get this one under their belt. And losing this initial contact, everyone is going down now, and this is actually getting incredibly rough. It's leaving them in quite a horrible, precarious position.
I also say BLERTS are going to pull off this successful defense here, and actually Gravity's not going to be able to pass that threshold of 7.2 meters. These are the way they're defending. Their shots have been hitting. They've been pulling off some like really interesting flanks as well, catching Gravity off guard. I'm thinking back to the Boot play as well. It wasn't even a flank, just the fact that he had no HP and you saw Gravity trying to chase him, but they were unsuccessful to actually kill him. And it'll actually cause their demise and cause them to lose quite a bit of time here. Remember, they finished with about 4 minutes and 40 seconds left up against Floaters United on this map. And right now, they're just struggling to get past the second point.
Payload returning.
And they're just winning overwhelmingly in every time they go up against each other. BLERTS are just able to completely wipe the floor with them. They're mopping them up like a spilt drink, Jason. It's just not looking good for Gravity at all. And obviously that's quite hard in 0G, because it would just be lots of droplets all over the ship.
So wait, the spilt milk? Is that not a saying in the UK?
Yeah, crying over spilt milk.
You said spilt drinks.
No, he's wiping them up like a spilt drink. So if you clean it up, wouldn't you? It'd be quite sticky.
Or wouldn't you be crying because you spilt your drink? I would.
Do you cry over spilling drinks?
Yeah. I mean, I cry after having a cast with you, so. Just kidding. Just kidding. It's all smiles. They're tears of joy. Maybe time, I think Gravity has some tears of joy because they got 3 eliminations and now Vic should be rushed down, and that should allow them to cross this checkpoint. And I think they'd be very happy about that, considering how the second point was actually working out in favor of BLERTS. It seemed like back-to-back fight victories for them. And now they finally have a chance here to close out this distance. About 70 meters left to go before they can call themselves a victor here of this first map.
Well, BLERTS have looked very, very good in the defense. The entire time, they've been pretty pristine.
Delivery accelerated.
Can they keep that up? Can they keep it going? Or is this actually going to be Gravity's final fight working out in their favor? They're not too far.
Delivery accelerating.
They really need to give it their all, though. Instantly, the combat starts to kick off again. The sniping from a distance has really been a key point so far into Payload. It's all about those shots you can do, how much you can dent them down before they even get anywhere near you. And Gravity are constantly having those health bars completely shredded off them. The connections are beautiful from BLERTS. They're ripping their way through them, Jason. Lee, no health when they actually do get into a kerfuffle.
Returning.
the end, it looks like the payload will be halted in the meantime. Looks like BLERTS have enough players left alive here to hold on to this one. You can still see Boop very far back with another teammate. I think that is actually Nilevik there to help him out here to make sure no one actually pushes him down and flanks him. And if you give Boop the space, I mean, the thing is, in Echo Arena, he already hits the long shots. He's one of the best aimers when it comes to getting the disc through the goal. But if you give him shots like this when it comes to a sniper rifle, like, that's when things get really dangerous, and you cannot afford to let him do that. I think that's why we saw like the force field being used out of Gravity to try to cause some distraction, disruption. That did not work out. And now Gravity gonna need some sort of answer here. But with the minute 10 left to go, they have to make these attacks work. They don't have a lot of time left. They have about, what, 2, maybe 3 attacks left to go?
Yeah, they don't really have too much of a chance left in them. A minute on the clock, 34 meters away. They are getting some pretty tasty shots off, but it's still just such a scrappy affair every time. Gravity, they're just being ripped through. BLERTS, it's like they've got a warmed up robot arm through butter. It's like a hot knife through butter, but
not my ideal,
warm up an arm.
It's not my ideal tool to use to cut through butter, but I guess it works.
Well, you know, it's metal.
You know, America, England, you know,
That's what we do.
each their own. In the meantime, though, you can see that BLERTS, with only 3 players left alive, are trying to fight out against the 4 players out of Gravity. It seems like the orange side is going to be generally winning out on these trades. You can see the low HP, but it doesn't seem to matter because the payload's going to continue to push. All it has to do is cross a 7.2 meter line. It's going to come down to basically out of Lego to defend this for now. You can still see the finishing point. Team Gravity can't even afford to fall off the payload anymore, or they'll actually lose out in this match. You can see 18. It's going to be Flush Go-Go pushing up to hope that the payload Go-Goes across this checkpoint. And let's see, last attack coming through. Oh my god, that wasn't even an attack, Jackie. That was just an explosion of nuts and bolts everywhere.
Yeah, this is rough. They have been completely destroyed there at the end. But in the turn of events, that is actually going to be BLERTS taking it. They were able to, overall, win this one out on the first map there, looking pretty darn good, which is interesting. Really, Gravity, overall, seemed to be sort of the better team going into it. Looked like the defense was quite nice, but just nothing was there from at all on the attacking side. It was really quite weak.
It just feels like someone needs to call Jesse and James because they're blursting off again.
Wow. There you go. Well done for that one. That was quite good. I'll give you that. I enjoyed that.
I got a cheeky smile out of you.
That was quite good.
I know I wasn't going to laugh, but... So yeah, we're moving into Dice now, I believe, as our second map here. It's going to be going over to some King of the Hill, and now BLERTS are 1 map away from taking down Gravity. And more importantly, I think closing that distance when it comes to standing, since Gravity currently in first place at 100. I think they might be able to overtake them here, or at least tie things up in that sense, as we will be heading on to Dice now between these two. And let's see, can BLERTS take it into, or will Gravity take us to a 3rd and final map?
Other brands of fan are available, of course.
What's up?
I said Dyson.
What's up?
What's up?
Oh, you mean the vacuums?
Other brands of vacuum are available.
Brands of vacuum, yeah.
There you go. Well, they also make fans. They make the bladeless fans you put your hands through, and you go, well, how does that work?
Electromagnets?
That's the one.
Is it right?
Probably.
No.
It's always
Well,
magnets.
don't tell Blue, because not only does he need air conditioning, he also needs a fan to keep him cool, nice and cool here in these European summers. And we'll be approaching soon. Point's going to be out to unlock here. You can see BLERTS has position around it, but again, we saw Gravity just against Floaters United not really care too much about the initial control. It's all about the retakes here. Both teams already taking a hefty amount of damage here. Flush Go-Go is going to be eliminated right off the bat. And you can see Gravity just respecting, all right, they're going to wait for the respawn to come back in and then make the attack work. Unless they can get a cheeky kill here from some player from an odd angle.
Maybe a potential filthy cut angle coming into effect. Right now, though, a bit of a stalemate. Here comes the aggression, finally starting to get in each other's faces as they are clawing away. They're scraping down that health bar ever so slightly. Lone Gecko appears to be the one that should be removed first. Niall's going to suffer the same fate. They fall into quite an awkward position now. This is when they can aggress towards the point and start to claim it. Should be able to take it away from BLERTS at this point. They've also got the delayed respawn, so Gravity will have a few seconds to compose themselves, get some health back on Ducky, hopefully, and actually start to build a percentage here, because they're going to need it. Here comes the respawn. BLERTS slightly isolated, as it is the 3-player setup and the Nile over to the other side. They link themselves back up first, grab onto each other, not only for support, but also for speed.
It's like a, yeah, I was going to say chain link fence, but that makes sense. We talked about speed. But speaking of speed, they're quickly going to attack into the tunnels and quickly, well, be dispersed of here. Gravity going to trade out in favor of them. And of course, just as I said, it comes down to 1v1 between Flush Go-Go and Idle Lego. The point is being held for Gravity. They're still continuing to build up percent here, and ec.lip is trying to back away, trying to stay alive, which is smart, considering the respawns are going to be quicker for their side than their opponents. Now they're going to have a 4-on-1 man advantage. Look at all that blue swarming over the point. And I think FleshGogo realizes this and plays it smart. He backs off, gives the point away, regroups with his team, and has to come back to a 4v4. Gecko again? Ooh. Dervil is just hitting these shots.
Zoe's been doing a very good job of this the entire time. That's actually the overall mark that we've seen coming out from Gravity. Some of the crisp shots they've been hitting. Again, though, another fight coming through. Blurst actually falling weak into this one. They couldn't do too much to actually defend themselves. Just a few mere seconds they had control of that point before it was retaken by Gravity. That's already going to be 60% now achieved by them. And they are fanning out. They are looking to hunt as well. They're not giving a damn right now.
I mean, the downside here for Blurst is these two maps are going to be King of the Hill. Payload won't be coming back into this one since they already won that once. So if they're going to win, they have to be able to win on control onto this King of the Hill. And we've seen a lot of teams really struggle when it comes to this game mode in particular. But with Gravity having control of the point, we're going to see Blurst go on the push from spawn. And, well, it's working in their favor. They still technically won out on that trade. Well, they did until Lone Gecko, I think, just got sniped off there the last second. But the problem is they're trying to contest, and it doesn't matter the end of things because Team Gravity is able to take the point, hold it to 100%, and get that round under their belts.
It's interesting as well now that we're actually seeing that game of cat and mouse around the point becoming, way more set as actually the core gameplay. It's how it's going to work, because that respawn mechanic is really one of the bigger pictures that we're seeing teams make full use of now. If you can back off, survive with just one player, force them into a situation where they take the point, you win the fight, you've instantly then got an advantage off the back of their delayed respawn. So it's cool to see how that has actually come into effect as a pure ideology of teams playing around that rather than before. We were just sort of seeing random scrappy fights wherever.
Oh, the regrab's going to be missed by Ducky. Not going to matter too much since they're not trying to get super aggressive off the bat, but it might delay their pushing a little bit. You can see Ducky and Stody trying to play together here, trying to actually push in very aggressively because of the split that came in. Now the backside Blur's going to come in with their own two players. Nilevik going to help take down Ducky here in a second. Stody's going to fall as well, and that's a really interesting split out of Blurs, but a good response out of Gravity to make that attack happen. Problem is they're still going to be down quite a few men here. And they have to be careful about capturing this point.
That was a full wipe for just the death of one on the side of Team Gravity. And will now be floating his way back over, obviously with support as well. They arrive on the scene, they're ready to try and control it. They'll get the instant point cap off. Attacks coming out from a different, you've got the two-man squads in effect. They're now going to swarm as they've got the initial inhalation. They're falling players back. Gravity going to retreat, try and get away with their tail between their legs, and that's probably the smarter play. Just scuffle out of there, wait for the two respawns, then fight again. They actually get that connection off. Nile annihilating Devil at the very end there.
I'm back.
He's back.
Actually, I wonder if they're going to continue to communicate in the game. Actually, I do wonder if the follow communication is being done in game or if they have like a gentleman's agreement to mute each other. Because that's what we've had in Echo Arena for some time. But I do like the aspect of being able to hear your opponents like we saw in Onward. Use that to your advantage and get that little rush in. Ducky and Derva both falling. And Blur's somehow able to keep 3 players left alive, and they still have control of the point as well. Not sure how they did that actually, but problem is now number 14 is going to be back away. Stody trying to take the point potentially. Just get eliminated from distance there, as you saw. The refight might break out. The problem is now Gravity's down a man here. And it's going to allow Blurs to get the full 4-man respawn back through here to defend the point.
Flowing their way back in. All 4 chassis arrive on the scene. Well, they're going to be able to take a beating this time. Busting out the wrenches. Let's see what they can do. Floating their way into effect. Nile just gliding through the air. You can see him trying to line up these shots, eyeing up the targets, working out which target is worth prioritizing. Already Gravity, though, back on the point, being able to collect it up to 12% now as that one is on the rise. And they've pretty much chunked their way for everyone on Blurst. The last remaining man is just going to scurry away, regroups up with the rest of the family. And here comes the school of the Blurst boys.
They have 68%, so if they can win this fight cleanly, they should be able to close out this round.
Point contested.
And be 1 round away from taking the 2-0. Stody immediately going to fall, but so is Boop. So it's going to be an equal trade for both teams. Howard's going to favor the attacking side, which Blur's going to be able to take control of the point now. See Gravity backing off, respecting this. I think Lone Gecko's sitting back to potentially help their respawning player back in. And once as I said, it actually gets super aggressive here. I still think they're going to, they're going to be down a man. Boop is not there. Lone Gecko's going to fall now. Luckily, Ducky gets traded out before then. And Now 40% in counting. They're up to 89. So if BLERTS win this next fight, they've got the round done. They should be able to.
Ifs, though. It's all up to the ifs and buts right now. Nothing set in stone, and Gravity being able to build up that percentage higher and higher as they're rising it up, waiting for the war to come their way. And BLERTS just sniping, moving in. We've got the 3 players set up as they come down the deck from above, but it's not working out too well. The shot's actually going through. They've already lost 2 players on either side. They do get control of the point, 91% and counting. If they're going to fight this, they need to fight it now. They might just have to go for the 2 versus 2 scuff. They float their way back through, snipe down just into the 1 versus 2. BLERTS, they're going to be able to capture it, and they do go 1 for 1 here, Jason.
Well done by BLERTS. I mean, they had a mass lead off the get-go, so they're able to really use their brains to play smart. They realized, yeah, we can back off. We don't have to contest right now. We can make sure to keep everyone left alive so we can get that full squad to come back in and swoop away the point. Jack, I actually have a question for you when it comes to gravity. So here on Earth, what weighs more? A kilo of feathers or a kilo of stones?
They both weigh the same, because they both weigh a kilo. A kilo of stones, Jason, because stones are heavier than feathers, obviously.
I was hoping
you Dumbo.
I was trying to see if we can catch you off guard to see if you're listening to me or not.
What do you put in a toaster?
What do you put in a toaster?
Yeah. Is it bread?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well done.
What, we're supposed to say toast?
Yeah.
Well, no, it's toast when it comes out.
Do you know the dogs can't look up?
I feel like it's like up dog kind of thing.
No, do you know the dogs can't look up?
Can't look what?
They can't look up.
Okay.
It's a fact.
Point.
Yeah, they don't have the neck bones for it.
5, 4.
I don't get it.
3.
Well, it's like, you know, we have opposable thumbs. Dogs don't have opposable necks, so they can only look forward.
The point.
Ask Blue. He has a dog.
No, he doesn't.
Captured.
No, that's true. Not
He
anymore.
rents a dog.
Yeah. Dog daycare.
Yeah. All right, so now BLERTS off initial get-go here in round 3. Having it able to take the initial control, which again is not necessarily an advantageous position unless you're confident you can win the fight, and they seem to maybe be able to here. However, we can still see 2 players left alive here on Team Gravity, and Gravity should be able to turn this point back for themselves and get the 2 respawns to come back through, rejoin in on the point. So Gravity are fighting for their lives here, basically. Has already lost that first map on Fission, and BLERTS are looking to take a quick 2-0 sweep here. If they're able to do so. It's still going to be a tough little battle to come back. Oh, that was a lot of damage being done by Idolego. Ducky, and I think that was Stody being knocked down about half HP. The problem was no one was able to capitalize off of that damage.
Yeah. Idolego and Stody have actually been our 2 main damage dealers, I believe, so far throughout this. They've been the ones connecting the majority of their shots and really just ripping their way through the opposition. Oh, that was meaty.
Did you know geckos?
Point captured.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Yeah?
I got nothing. I got no gecko facts.
Wow. Almost. Almost.
I don't have many facts.
No.
I have, they're in my brain somewhere. If you would like bring them up, be like, okay, yeah, I can literally like finish the sentence for you, but I can't recall them.
Can't
As if they're just like there in the
pull
front
them
of my mind. I don't know how people do that.
We'll work on it. We'll get some facts for the NA show.
No, it's not.
All right.
Because then it's unfair to EU, you know? We don't want to seem biased.
Point contested.
EU gets dog facts. Told about the dogs not being able to look up. Well, Gravity have regained control of the situation. I'm glad someone has.
I got nothing.
When do you ever have anything?
Not really ever. But neither, I was gonna say, neither does Boop, but he is hitting these shots. And again, like, you cannot afford to let Boop just stay alive and just do damage to you. You have to play really aggressive against him or really defensive against him as he connects with Stody there. So he should be able to dodge out most of these shots as they're coming from such a long range.
Point contested.
But he's still getting some damage in. You can see Navik low on HP, Stody as well. Just a sliver of health, somehow able to survive. Boop's actually going to push into the point, even though they're going to be down a man as he backs off immediately here. Again, looking for the damage from range. Lone Gecko tries to push in. He's getting bursted down. He gets eliminated. And I think Gravity actually might be able to take us to a 3rd map now.
Point captured.
Potentially. They have been able to get back on it.
Oh, oh, that was great. It's great use of the stun field there to slow them and keep them away from it. I think that's why Boop is a god. Look at him.
He really is just going for it. Ripping his way for everyone that dares to defy him right now. Stody as well, still adding to that ever-growing amount of DPS he's been able to keep up pretty consistently throughout the course of this one. BLERTS back on the point, up to 50% and counting. Gravity not far away from that 90 mark. They're pretty darn close.
I wish we could see Boop's damage, because I feel like he's been doing so much, at least damage per life. Because he's been hitting like so many great shots. He's been out so much damage in general, and he's also surviving for such a long time. And of course, just as I speak about it, he almost gets bursted down completely. He's starting to heal up here, so is Lone Gecko. See the push out of Gravity. Actually, both teams be fighting completely off the point here. And BLERTS, actually, if they come out ahead in this fight, they could potentially pull off the upset here, pull off the 2-0 victory. Flush Gogo trying to survive. You can see Boot trying to back away again. They have the longer respawn timer, so maybe they're going to give the point over to the side of Gravity. You see Dervo going in directly. It's going to be a 2-on-4 now as the respawn's going to be back here for Gravity. And BLERTS actually trying to go for the cap at the same time. I don't know, this is a little bit of an overcommitment for them, but they might have them low enough to make this work. Dervo still trying to fight from range here, trying to look for some easy damage. He gets bursted down, and just like that, somehow, BLERTS with only a couple players overthrow Gravity, take the point, and they might have taken the game here too because the respawns are going to be so long, 90% and counting. I think they've done it, Jackie.
This is crazy. It's so close. Surely here, this should be where they actually do close it out, right? The push comes back through, 97%. It would have to be absolute lunacy for Gravity to be able to step back up and take this one. With just Flush Gogo being there, he might be good. He might be an absolute golden child when it comes down to being a nuisance on the point, but he can't even survive that. BLERTS will take it. The clean 2-1 there with the overall 2-0 in the series. They lock it down.